try to shake off starts.
There's very few people on this planet that can do this.
Imagine if LeBron James retired from basketball in 2013 after winning back-to-back championships with the Heat.
I have not mapped out how many seasons I have left. I know it's not that many.
Or if Steph Curry retired in 2018 after winning his fourth NBA title.
Got by Rivers, good if it goes!
Hard to imagine, right? Well, in 1993, after winning a three-peat with the Chicago Bulls and being acclaimed as the best player in basketball, that's exactly what Michael Jordan did. But why? On October 6, 1993, a day before training camp, Jordan called up a press conference. Everyone was aware that something big was about to happen. The NBA was still recovering from Magic Johnson's retirement 2 years earlier when Jordan shocked the world with his announcement.
When I lose the sense of motivation and the sense of to prove something as a basketball player, it's time for me to move away from the game of basketball. It's not because I don't love the game. I love the game of basketball, I always will. I just feel that I've reached the pinnacle of my career. I don't have anything else for myself to prove.
But was it the real reason, or did something else happen? To understand, we need to rewind the clock.
Do you have a gambling problem?
No, I enjoy it. It's a hobby.
I'm not about to go about and see how much our players owe. I don't think they should owe it to the wrong people.
Slim Buller at the time was being probed by the Fed. When they asked him about the $57,000 check, he said it was a loan from Michael Jordan.
Giving me more time than they would give a hard criminal that would go out and kill somebody.
James Jordan was found dead, victim of an apparent murder.
When Michael Jordan came into the NBA in 1984, the Bulls had an average of 3,000 people in attendance at their home games. And the league was not even close to the NFL or MLB in terms of popularity. Jordan was an NCAA and Olympic champion with a clean resume. His unbelievable talent, high-flying dunks, and competitiveness made him the best player in the league and eventually the face of the business. The NBA commissioner at the time, David Stern, had a vision to make the NBA a global brand, and Michael Jordan was the key figure in that. The NBA all of a sudden became a multi-billion-dollar business, and Jordan was the key product. Given his impact on the game itself, and more importantly on the image of the league, Jordan could get away with almost everything. And the only real problem that started to emerge was his gambling habits. It was not a secret that Jordan was taking regular trips to Atlantic City and Las Vegas, where he was gambling huge amounts of money. And he also wanted to spice things up every time he played a game of cards with his teammates or took to the golf course. Jordan did not see his gambling as a problem. He thought that he had a problem with competitiveness.
If I had a problem, I'd be starving. I'd be hawking this watch. My championship rings, I would sell my house. I would do this. My wife would left me, or she'd be starving, or my kids would be starving. I do not have a problem. I enjoy gambling.
So Stern did not have a problem with that, even though many sources were saying that he and Jordan had met a couple times to discuss his dangerous habit and the way it may impact his and the image of the league. Things started getting out of control when Jordan was called in front of a jury in 1992 to discuss a $57,000 personal check, which had been endorsed to James Slim Bowler, a convicted cocaine dealer.
Don't do drugs. If you're doing it, stop it. Get some help.
During Bowler's trial, Jordan was called to the stand to ask why a check with his signature on it made its way to Bowler. Jordan first claimed that he borrowed money to Bowler, but during the trial, he changed his story and said it was to cover his gambling debt with Bowler. Bowler claimed that Jordan had racked up quite a tab, mainly during high-stakes golf games throughout the late 80s and early 90s. In May 1993, just months before Jordan's retirement press conference, a guy named Richard Esquinas released a book called Michael and Me, Our Gambling Addiction, My Cry for Help. On those pages, Esquinas claimed that Jordan owed him a staggering $1.25 million from golf bets. Jordan quickly denied those claims, and Esquinas later revealed that he had settled with Jordan for a much smaller amount, only $300,000. To make things worse, much of this golfing took place at Hilton Head, South Carolina, where it was technically illegal to gamble. At that point, Jordan's hobby became a real problem for him and even bigger for the league. Stern could not allow any damage to the league's reputation, and many believed that he worked on a deal with Jordan. If it was any other player, the league would publicly suspend him, sending a message to everyone else that they would not tolerate such behavior. It was quite difficult to understand Jordan's behavior since he was a well-raised kid. Jordan was very close to his parents, James and Dolores. His father was the one who pushed Jordan to play sports from an early age, and he actually wanted his son to pursue a baseball career, but Jordan picked basketball in high school. The NBA fans were familiar with Jordan's father when the Bulls won their first ever NBA championship, as James was next to MJ when some of the most iconic NBA photos were made, Jordan holding up the Larry O'Brien trophy with his father next to him. Unfortunately, James was found dead in July 1993.
Two 18-year-olds accused of murdering the father of basketball star Michael Jordan.
Mr. Jordan had pulled off the side of the road to rest for a while, and he was shot to death while in his car and was taken to the state of South Carolina and placed into the swamp where he was found.
He was shot and killed while sleeping in his car in Robeson County, North Carolina. He went missing on July 23, 1993, and his body was discovered roughly 2 weeks later. Soon after, Larry M. DeMary and Daniel Green, who were both 18 years old at the time of James's death, were arrested and charged with murder after using his car phone following his disappearance. DeMary reportedly admitted the two attempted to rob James as he slept in his car, and they ended up shooting him. While the deaths of the attack have never been entirely clear in DeMary and Green's accounts, the latter maintained his innocence and claimed he wasn't there at the time of the crime. However, DeMary pleaded guilty to first-degree murder, armed robbery, and conspiracy to commit robbery in 1995, for which he received a life sentence plus 40 years. Green was also sentenced to life in prison for murder during the robbery, plus an additional 10 years for conspiracy to commit robbery. Jordan's life changed forever, and even though many believe that he was on top of the world after winning the third consecutive NBA championship in the summer of 1993, he was actually dealing with his father's death. On the outside, he was the basketball god and was actually a bigger celebrity than Michael Jackson or Madonna, but on the inside, he was hurt and most of all, tired of everything. Everybody wanted to be like Mike, and everyone wanted a piece of him. Jordan could not go anywhere unnoticed. By anywhere, I don't mean in the United States or anywhere in the world. That's how big he was. He was coming out of his 9th NBA season, and he missed a total of 6 games other than the 1985-1986 season when he broke his foot. Jordan was a constant target of opponent defense, and what he was put through on any given night was something that no other athlete ever was. After the Bulls won their second championship in 1992, more than a year before his retirement, Jordan said, "I'm so tired even when it comes time to push myself. I feel the tired." At the time, Jordan apparently told his close ones that his father's death made him realize how short life is and how quickly things can end. After accomplishing everything in basketball, Jordan had no motive to play without his father by his side. And at the same time, he wanted to try and play Major League Baseball since that was his father's wish when Jordan was growing up. Maybe it was the right time for him to do something else. He was dealing with his father's death, gambling scandals, and was just tired of that life. Whatever the real reason was, Jordan was no longer with the Bulls. He tried to get to the MLB, but despite his fame, he was simply not good enough to get there. He spent a season with the Birmingham Barons, a Double-A minor league affiliate of the Chicago White Sox, a team that was owned by Bulls owner Jerry Reinsdorf. Jordan played a total of 127 games with a batting average of .202. As time went by, the basketball fans got used to him not being in the NBA. Scottie Pippen took over the Bulls, and they almost made it to the conference finals without MJ. But soon after, Jordan was all over the news again. This time, he made the entire basketball world happy by saying 2 words, "I'm back." He returned to the Bulls in the 94-95 season and scored 55 points in his first visit to Madison Square Garden. But the Bulls could not go all the way that year. After taking an entire summer to prepare for the NBA, Jordan was fully back in 1996. First, he led the Bulls to the best regular season record at the time of 72 wins and 10 losses. The Bulls won their second three-peat, and after the 1998 NBA Finals, Jordan retired. It was the end of an era, not just for the Chicago Bulls, but for the NBA in general. There were new superstars in the game like Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, or LeBron James. And even though all of them were outstanding players and superstars on and off the court, none of them came close to the impact Michael Jordan left on the game. Whether you're with MJ or someone else in the GOAT debate, one thing's for sure, there are and there will be many great players, but none of them will be the next Michael Jordan.